Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you being here. I hope you had a great week. And if you did not, I hope you have a great weekend or a good weekend or some rest or something. Okay? I hope something goes right in your life this week, okay? If you're having a shitty week, I hope either Saturday or Sunday, something goes right for you. Hang in there, okay? That being said, welcome to my channel. This is where I give commentary. Right now, I'm focused on Foodie Beauty just because, there's so much to talk about with this woman. She's just the gift that keeps on giving. If you're new to the channel, I appreciate you stopping by. If you are a subscriber, I appreciate your support. And if you're stopping by for the second or third time, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing but a click. Okay, so that being said, moving on, I'm just trying to keep up with our favorite trad wife out there in Kuwait. The last time that I did a video on her, it was her Bukhari mukbang. This is where she was apologizing for that hell of a video, that hell of a mukbang that she did in her car for Hardee's. It was a sight to behold. If you did not see it, you can watch it on my channel, or you could, there's plenty of other reaction channels out there as well. If you don't want to hear someone talking and you just want to take it all in, there are other clip channels out there as well that'll give you like the best parts of this mukbang. But anyways, enough about that. After that mukbang, she did go on live a couple of times. Remember that she had somebody in her chat who was donating a lot of money. I believe it amounted to like $400. People are calling this person a feeder. People are saying, it's feeder content. I don't know. I don't know what it is. There's definitely something suspicious going on, but that's between Chantal and her friends in her chat. And then we got some Give Me Your Request, where she went on and she did a sort of parody of some of the reactors that react to her. Then, once again, took us to Hardee's, one of her favorite spots, made dinner, and then her most recent live stream is she's out in in the biggest McDonald's in Kuwait. Now, after her Bukhari mukbang, she did a sort of like cooking video for us. But in this particular video, which I did not cover, prepares her breakfast, which apparently this is a breakfast that she prepares often. And it's a healthier breakfast than what she, what we're used to seeing her eat, right? Because we had oatmeal in there, we had eggs in there, we had banana, and I think she had like syrup or something because she didn't have milk. But I'm not going to trash it because it's a much better option than all of the other stuff that we normally see her eat. That being said, the reason why I wanted to touch on this particular mukbang of hers is because in this mukbang, she just basically said, listen, I don't care what anyone has to say. I shouldn't have, she shouldn't have brought her health stuff to the internet. And once again, she's not going to be discussing her health. She's not going to be, she's going to eat whatever she wants. One thing that she wants to do, her goal is to mukbang her way across Kuwait, go to different fast food restaurants and review those fast food restaurants. Okay? That's what she said.
I want to completely review and try most of the restaurants in Kuwait. And I want that to be a series on my channel, Foodie Beauty. If down the line I'm consistent with weight loss, maybe I'll start another channel, Foodie Gets Fit or something like that. Until then, this is just going to be a beezing channel, and I want to do like at least a food review almost every day or some kind of food video.
Okay. For diabetic, I think this is wild. She's someone she is not at the cusp of having diabetes, okay? She is diagnosed with diabetes, has been diagnosed with diabetes for many years now. She's on medication, but she says she is going to review all of the fast food restaurants in Kuwait. I'm not here to kill anyone's dream, but that particular dream, that particular goal of hers sounds like a killer to me, you know, with her situation that she's dealing with health-wise. But yeah, I'm not a doctor, right? We're not a doctor. We're just all people from the internet. Anyways, moving on. This cheesy poutine mukbang did not cover it, did not care, whatever. Which brings us to our latest mukbang today, which is a clean home tour featuring meatballs and Indomie. All right, let's just take a moment to take this all in, okay? You know, you have to keep a clean home, keep a clean body, and definitely as a Muslima, this is something that she has to do, right? Because cleanliness is next to godliness, okay? And as a Muslima, she needs to make sure her home, her body, every aspect of her life is clean. The moment that she put on that hijab, that she made the decision to convert, and the moment she said her shahada, we understand that things will not always be perfect, right? But we have to hold her accountable because she sought this religion and she decided to, you know, don the representation, you know, of this religion by, you know, putting on the hijabi. And that represents something for a lot of practicing Muslims out there. So I expect her house to be clean.
Alright, so some people have been asking to see our place, and, you know, it's not super fancy or anything like that. You know, there's a lot of flaws, but whatever. It's I've been trying real hard to at least keep it nice and clean, regardless of your living space, no matter how big, small, modern, old, whatever you live in. You know, we can still all do our best to try to keep a clean space. So I'll just show you a little bit of our living space. We do like to keep some rooms private, just for privacy. And this is, you know, one of the bathrooms. This is the one that I use. And yeah, just thought I would show you a bit of that and a little bit of the kitchen and the litter box that I keep very clean. So here is all of those clips. Hello guys, welcome back to another dinner video.
Thanks for having us. Okay, so my commentary on her clips there that she just showed us is, for one, you know what? Chantal is looking for her ass pats. She's looking for her kudos. She's looking for people to say something positive about her. So I'm going to be one of those individuals who will say something positive. Congratulations, Chantal. Whether or not you did this cleaning yourself, congratulations for keeping your space clean, or at least the spaces that you chose to show us. It's not as if her home is a big home, right? I can understand not wanting to show your bedroom. I believe that is, you know, it's a private area, right? Where you sleep, where you lay your head, where you get your peace. So I can understand that. I'm not sure why we needed to see the litter box, but that looked like a fresh bag of litter there, and that's a good thing. Her bathroom, I don't know why the two main spots or two main rooms that she wanted to show us were her bathroom and her kitchen, but whatever, you know what I mean? Regardless, she is right. It doesn't matter if you're living in an old, new home, recently renovated, whatever little imperfections your home may have. The whole idea is as long as it's clean, and I will back her up on that. I will, you know, high five her for that. Yes, a clean home is always good.
Today, I just made myself some meatballs in the air fryer, some ramen, which I haven't had in a little while, actually. Yes, I make the best ramen. Oh yeah. You gotta add other things to it, not just the package. All right. Bismillah, beauty bite. Let's have a meatball. I love meatballs. Italian meatballs.
She sounds like she's in a good mood. You know, she sounds like she's in a good mood. And I say this because in one of her last videos, where she went out, you know, for her night drive, she seemed to have gotten into a little spat with Salah during the live. He seemed pretty upset with her.
Why are you yelling at me? Like, why are you giving me attitude? Like, what the hell? The fuck? Well, you're not here with me, are you? Maybe that would help. I gave him the money. Like, you didn't even see what happened and you're yelling at me. I gave him he gave me the menu. I pointed to something that was 95 fills. He didn't have anything left. So then I put you guys down. I said, you have change for a 10. He looked at me like I'm friggin' the R word. So I said, okay, then give me the most expensive thing you have, which was this thing, the Fantastic. And then he gave me change.
Things didn't look wasn't looking so good. And then after that live, she kind of didn't come on camera for a while. And, you know, now she's back, and the video that she dropped, she's happy, you know, she's having her Indomie. So, you know, maybe everything is all good now in their marital home.
So I showed you guys some parts of my home. I don't want to show everything because some parts of the house we just want to keep private, like our bedrooms and stuff.
Understandable.
Harry's room, or the spare room, is just...
Hold up. Why is it Harry's room? Why is it still Harry's room? I thought Harry died. If you don't know, Harry is was her hamster that passed away. And she buried him on the beach across from her apartment. Yeah, that was something.
It's kind of like a storage room. We don't have closet space here, so it's just kind of cluttered, but it's clean.
Interesting that she didn't show us that room. If it's clean and organized, then why not show it? It's not your bedroom that you're sleeping in.
I was thinking of solutions because you guys know me from the villa, when I lived in the villa, my old place, a couple years ago. My place was messy and dirty. Sometimes I would go through, you know...
Messy and dirty is an understatement, honestly. And it's interesting that she only put that one little clip, because that's not even like a tip of the iceberg of what was going on in that villa. Okay. It was filthy. It wasn't dirty. It was filthy. All right. This woman, she had, first of all, there were two individuals living in that home, her and Pete's. Okay. Their place had like 2 levels, I believe. And on both levels, it was just pure chaos. I think the only room in that house that was somewhat decent was Pete's room. And that's because he had barely anything in his room. Okay. Chantal just occupied all of the spaces, and every space that she occupied, from the bathroom in her bedroom to the bathroom downstairs in the kitchen, was filthy. The kitchen was filthy. There were boxes everywhere. There was a corner where boxes from her Amazon purchases were just, you know, going up to the ceiling if you weren't aware. We saw her little snapshot there with like the picture of stuff on the floor. This woman had all sorts of stuff underneath her desk. She had old food, and I mean old food, like old KFC, like, you know, still had a chicken uneaten or partially eaten in her drawer. Okay, she had a bed with pissy sheets that she pissed on that she didn't change. She had clothes all over the place. She had a corner where her cats were eating off of a cardboard box, and there were just cat food all over the place. Okay, so dirty is an understatement. her place was filthy. Filthy. And I don't doubt if it wasn't for Salah, it would get to that level. So at least Salah was able to, or is able to, keep her somewhat in check, because Pete's didn't.
Weeks of not cleaning properly or at all. And then I would do a huge cleanup like the whole day, make life harder on myself.
Hate to interrupt here, but the cleanup that she's referring to that she did all day would basically involve her taking large garbage bags and filling up those garbage bags with all the junk and everything on the floor. And sometimes those garbage bags that she filled up from her bedroom, and we're talking about, the garbage bags that you might take to, like, clean up leaves, or, those really big garbage bags. Okay, she would have like 2 or 3 of those from her bedroom. And she wouldn't even take it out the same day. Sometimes she would put it out on her balcony and have it sit there on her balcony. So when she says clean up, I put a big star next to that, because it wasn't much of a cleanup. It was really putting stuff in garbage bags, but garbage bags still staying in the house for God knows how long, until Pete's would take it out for her.
And now, as a form of self-love and love for my home, my family, I try to keep it clean. There's been times where I go through depression and I don't keep it as clean as I'd like. I never let it get villa level. My husband would never. But
There you go.
I want to get to a point where I become kind of obsessed with cleaning, even as a hobby, because I find...
Okay, while she's gathering her thoughts there, right now I just think that this whole video is just kind of like damage control, because oftentimes you'll find that other reactors or clip channels, right, whenever there's nothing much really going on in Chantal's life, and she's not putting out lives, doing lives, or she's not putting out a recorded video, what you'll find is that people will rehash some of her older videos, especially her time back in Canada, in the villa more specifically. So you'll probably, there's videos out there floating around with a lot of the filth that she was living in Canada. And this is just her way of trying to change the narrative, so to speak, paint herself in a better light, that she's changed. But we've seen lives of Chantal before, where she gets up and she's making her way over to the kitchen. In her kitchen, it has been definitely not villa level, I agree, but we do see, that her stovetop is all cluttered. There's still lots of dishes in the sink, and she's even said herself, admitted herself, that sometimes, she's cooked something, it's still on the pot, or it's still like in the oven from like the day before, or from whenever she last cooked it. So she still has the same behavior, but due to Salah, she's unable to get to that extent, get to that level, of filth that we have gotten accustomed to of her in the villa. I hope that made sense, but yeah. So basically, I think Chantal is just trying to really, often, ever so often, she tries to come on and try to change the narrative that she's a much better person, and a better person, and she's doing all she can to do better for herself.
When my home is clean, I feel so much less depressed. I know depression can be a clinical thing, and it's not always just situational, but there's things that we do that make life harder on ourselves.
Hello, Foodie Beauty.
Oh! Cameo from King Deezer. Scared me. Anyway, so what I found, and you can try this, maybe you already know this, but because for me, let me rewind. For me, the motivation to keep cleaning comes when I get up and start cleaning something. And I found through this method that it doesn't take much to get the wheels going. So if you're ever not feeling motivated, get up, force it, like really force it. Do what you gotta do. Splash cold water on your face, drink coffee, whatever. Get a little bit of energy. Let's say you have dishes to do, a whole pile. Get up, clean 3 to 4 dishes. Just 3 to 4.
She said a mouthful. Okay, so, all right. Thank you. Right, good message. Good message. Wrong messenger. The reason I say this is because if Foodie thought this way, whenever it came to her health-wise, if she felt the way she felt like she's expressing concerning cleaning, she would apply the same principle when it comes to her health. As you see here, she said out of her own mouth, do whatever you have to do. Splash water on your face. Push through it because, just wash one dish. By washing 1 or 2 or 3 dishes, eventually you'll find yourself in a rhythm where you're cleaning up the whole kitchen. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. But this is where Foodie Beauty's hypocrisy comes into play because she knows that she's not doing this. This is performative, as I mentioned before, because we see her. We see her on live. We see her in the past. We've seen her, when people are trying to get her to do something that doesn't involve sitting down and putting food in her mouth, the way she pushes back. Also, she said to us in the past, quite defiantly, that she doesn't want a hobby. She does not want a hobby. So why are you coming out all of a sudden now saying you want to make this a hobby of yours? Frankly, cleaning is not a hobby. It's not something that you pick up today and you put down tomorrow. Cleaning is a daily occurrence. Cleaning is not a hobby. It's not something that once in a while you want to do it because it makes you feel good. It's something that it's part of or it should be part of your daily ritual. Just like when you get up, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, before you go out. That's what cleaning is. Sure, you might have a day off, you might have a weekend off because you don't feel like it. You've had a long day because you've been working and you don't really want to do any, heavy lifting in terms of, the type of cleaning that you're going to do. But for someone like herself who does nothing all day, quite literally nothing all day, has no extra hobbies, not taking any sort of classes, she's just home. She has no children to watch after. She has a cat. Howie has passed away. R.I.P. to Howie. We know she does not cook regularly because she orders out or she's in her car on the streets of Kuwait looking for fast food. So to come out here and say you want to make it a hobby, I mean, oh, wow. I think you need to aim a little higher, Chantal. Just a little higher. You're on the right track, but aim a little higher.
Or just start with one thing. Clean the counter around the dishes to get it set up to do the dishes. Any little thing will get that blood flowing. We'll get those positive vibes going. Will inspire you to keep going.
Yeah, just like your health.
For me, anyway. I didn't film my living room because it's honestly, other than having
That's the part that gets me. Why not your living room? This is the location where we see you 99% of the time. is in that chair in the living room. So why not share the cleaning that was done in your living room, or the cleaning that was done to that desk area there that you're sitting at? That's what the people really want to see.
Some unfolded clothes, laundry that I have to fold later on the couches or something. It's always pretty much clean because we don't really use it much. But لا ما بعرف.
صح وعافية حبيبتي.
على قلبك حبيبي.
Yeah, bravo.
Is it على قلبك or على قلبك?
على قلبك. You can say على قلبك or على قلبك.
Okay. Thanks for the lesson, sweet love.
Anytime.
I do really have to learn more Arabic. Come on.
Okay, so okay, this makes me laugh because tell us you're not watching the reaction channels, without telling us you're watching the reaction channels. All right. The last video, sorry, the live that she did where she went out and as I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned it earlier. If I didn't, there was a live where she went out and she saw this, I guess this ice cream vendor, and she got super excited.
There's a Lulu? There's a Lulu. There's a Lulu man! Lulu man!
And she went to order or get herself an ice cream bar, but she didn't know the currency. And Salah in the chat was a little snippy with her. You could sense it, that there was a level of annoyance there that we generally don't see. So he was basically telling her, I've told you this a bunch of times, what this is. And then he eventually she goes up to the vendor and she's trying to communicate with him, but he does not speak a word of English. And Chantal, she likes to say she knows a little bit of Arabic, but I highly doubt that. She doesn't know enough to have a simple conversation. She doesn't know enough to just order something for herself. She'll tell you the names of stuff, certain food items, but to go in and actually carry a conversation of, hi, how are you? Can I have XYZ, please? Thank you. Have a good day. No, she's not even at that level. And many people have said to her before, you need to learn the language. She has said it herself that she does not want or she does not need to learn it. This has come out of Chantal's mouth herself. So she's always pushing back against things that are helpful to her. She's always going against her own self-interest. So anyways, what happened was she ended up giving this vendor some change, which was not even money. It wasn't even in their currency. And so after a little bit of back and forth, Salah comes into chat and Salah's telling her, I told you to just, point to whatever you want and give them the money and they'll give you the change. There's no discussion needed because these vendors, they don't speak any English. They only speak Arabic. Chantal gets upset because she's not happy with the tone in which Salah is, speaking to her in the chat. He wasn't going for her usual baby talk or, helpless attitude that she likes to portray with him. And so people, rightfully so, were saying, hey, that's why you need to learn the language. You shouldn't be out and about like this in Kuwait if you don't know the language. Worst case scenario, just a side note, this is my thought. I understand that she was on a live, but maybe have a second phone with you if you're going to do your live where you can put a translator on there and you could speak into the translator and have it translated into the other language for the person. I mean, for someone who does a lot of traveling, these are maybe some tips and tips, sorry, that you could give to your audience for someone who's living in a country with a whole new language, new culture, and everything else that they're not used to. These are just some of the basics that you can, basic tools available to you in the 21st century that make life much more easier. That's just a quick note to Chantal. So anyone who's a Chantal fan out there watching this, or if it crosses Chantal's timeline and she happens to click on it, there you go, Chantal. Okay, get yourself a second phone or a translator app on your phone if you don't already have it. If you have it, use it, my friend. That's what it's there for, okay? And stop embarrassing yourself like this out in public, on live too. But anyways, moving on. So the reason why I went on this long trail is simply to say, we are now seeing Salah come in and their interaction, you know, he's speaking to her, giving like in a little bit of Arabic. All of a sudden now she's answering. Now she's saying, oh, she really needs to learn Arabic because once again, this is damage control. Damage control from what has happened in the past. Damage control for the embarrassment that she suffered on live when she tried to make a purchase of this with the ice cream vendor. Anyways, moving on.
It's true. That's something I could do too. I'm just focusing on trying to not be such a mess, one thing at a time. Anyway.
I think one of your biggest goals should be to learn the language. You've been there for two or almost 2 years now. We're going on 2 years. You can't even hold a basic conversation. That's sad. And she stated multiple times that she's not coming back to Canada. Kuwait is her home. So if you're living in a country where the official language is Arabic, and when you know that when you go out there, yes, you might come across a few people who speak English. That's always great, but to really immerse yourself into a culture, to really understand the culture, it's always through language. Language breaks down a lot of barrier. And you can see that Foodie has no desire to do this. We know she's quite awkward in public. But once again, does nothing to help herself. Wants to put on an image that she's in the culture. She's a Muslima now. She's so well versed with all the different types of olives and pickles that Kuwait has to offer, but doesn't want to learn the language, doesn't want to go out to traditional places, meet the people, make some real friends in Kuwait, some other Muslimas that she can sit down with, that she can talk to, that she can, just fellowship with, as women, as I'm sure she can find a lot of Muslimas who are, what's the word that they call themselves? They're not converts, right? Or recently converted or recently reverted, whatever the terminology is for it. But she could find other people as well. She could find expats as well that she can talk to, get to know more about the city that she's living in, more about the culture, etc. It's great she has her husband, but just like her husband has friends, she needs to have her own set of friends too.
So since my life is kind of boring, I don't really have many stories of my own life to tell you. If something happens or I think of something, I'll let you know. Yeah. But it won't be like TMI level.
I should hope not.
Thought I would discuss something I've been seeing in the news going viral. This woman, this female rapper, she's suing Lyft for denying her Lyft driver denied her a ride because of her size. And I thought I would give my 2 cents.
Good.
Honestly, maybe you don't think I would give this answer, but my opinions have changed a lot on situations like this when it comes to size differences, and I don't think that people should be, bullied or made fun of because they're overweight. But I don't feel like the driver was being discriminatory in a bullying or bad way.
And I would agree, I do agree actually with Foodie here. He was not discriminatory towards her. He was not being rude towards her. This is a man who is using his own vehicle. He's a contractor, basically, right? For Lyft. So he has to take care, the expenses is going to be on him to take care of his vehicle, pardon me, when there's wear and tear. You know, replacing shocks, replacing a lot of things on a vehicle is not cheap. Depending on the make or model of your vehicle, it can become very expensive. She would require a bigger vehicle to get in. We've seen Foodie trying to get in to her vehicle, okay, at her size, okay? And she's a lot smaller than this woman. It would have been something, a sight to behold, of this woman trying to get into her vehicle. So that being said, kudos to you, Chantal, for at least seeing the light and seeing that it's not people discriminating against overweight people. Sometimes there's a logistic behind it. It's not only for health-wise that you shouldn't carry all of this weight, but also for other practical reasons as well.
I think the driver was actually being kind of respectful, and you could tell he felt bad. He kept saying, "I'm sorry." He had a small car. And he was worried about mechanical issues arising. This woman is she's in the 500s. Is what I heard, like higher 500s, close to 600 pounds. First of all, Lyft drivers have the right to refuse for whatever reason. Like I said, I don't feel like he was being disrespectful in the way he communicated. So I don't think it's like to be sued worthy kind of thing. She could have just said like she made the situation worse. She could have just said, okay, fine, and called an XL Uber or a Lyft, which it exists for a reason.
Agreed.
She could have gotten a bigger vehicle because...
Definitely. Don't waste the people's time. Don't waste... The driver got fired. He was dismissed from his job because of this woman. I think he should countersue, honestly. He should countersue. I think she's being ridiculous. I think she's looking for attention. She knew she couldn't fit in there. One of her arguments, and I'm speaking to the woman who was, screaming discrimination against the Lyft driver. One of her arguments to him was that, well, she has a friend who has the same car, who has a car as well, similar size, and she doesn't have an issue. She never had an issue getting into that friend's car. Well, if that's the case, call your friend. Call your friend, okay? This is this man's vehicle. He's contracting for a company, and he has decided that your weight is too much. It is his vehicle. He can say no. He said no to you. Accept the no and move on. Accept the no and call for, an XL or a bigger vehicle to come and pick you up. But instead, you're wasting your money, to get these lawyers. Maybe the lawyers that she got are lawyers who, they only get paid if there's a settlement, whatever the situation may be. And I think for them to take on this case also is ridiculous. And they're probably looking for some exposure as well, because you got this man fired, his livelihood, you put his livelihood at stake because you were too big to get into his vehicle and you refused to call for transportation that is bigger and that would be able to accommodate you. You're in the wrong. Their transportation was available. It's not like a service wasn't available to her. It is just the level of service that she asked for wasn't able to accommodate her. So she needed to go to a different level which is the Lyft XL or Uber XL. Ridiculous.
You have to be very careful how you talk about these things.
No, you don't. Just speak your mind sometimes.
For the lawyer to say that it's the same kind of discrimination as denying somebody of a different race
Ridiculous.
is
Say
just
it.
gross.
It's stupid.
Now, at one time, I used to think that fat discrimination was like equal, you know?
We know.
Number one, I don't even think that she was being discriminated against. Like, it's, you know, things have like weight limits. You know what I mean? Like, and as a bigger person, it's our responsibility to be aware of those situations. And like I said, I didn't always think this way, but now I do for sure. Like, come on. It was a small car. It was a compact car, you know? It's not his fault you're that big.
I'm glad you feel this way, and I hope you continue to feel this way when you have to travel again by plane, that you not try to weasel yourself into, you know, taking one seat when you know, in fact, you should be taking a second seat because you're encroaching that much on someone else.
And yes, I think that me putting this food in my mouth is a choice. I respect, as somebody who has issues with food, that there are reasons for morbid obesity. And one of those reasons is not taking responsibility for your own healing with your issues, which I fully acknowledge. And, you know, you're not going to see me blaming other people for my size.
No, you don't blame other people for your size, but you do tend to, you know, use the word bullying quite a lot. You know, when people comment on your eating habits, your size, the way, you know, your fupa balls, you do complain about that. You do call them bullies and that they're bullying you just because you're fat, and they're just pointing out a fact. No, it's not bullying if somebody's telling you the truth. It's not bullying if someone is holding up a mirror to your face and saying, this is what's happening, and you need to do something about it, and you need to do something about it yesterday.
You're not going to see me expecting other people to fix my issue.
You do. You do. She does, because, you know, she's always trying to rope Salah into, whenever she goes on her health arc, you know, well, Salah is going to help me. Salah is going to make sure that I'm eating the right thing. Salah is going to make sure there's no junk food in here. Salah is going to check to, you know, before we bring groceries in the house. Salah, you know. Oh, when she's in Canada, oh, you know, I would be eating better if I was in Kuwait, you know, because Salah is there. Is that not expecting someone to help you or take charge of your health?
So it's also our responsibility to look into size. Am I going to fit here? Am I too heavy for this? Am I going to break it? That kind of thing, which I've become a lot more aware of. And I like taking responsibility for my wrongs, for things that, my flaws, stuff like that.
Sure.
Now, no, I'm probably not seemingly to you, you know, on the outside looking in. And a lot of the time, no, I'm not being consistent and doing healthy lifestyle changes. But at the same time, I'm going to be aware of my limitations as a larger person. And I'm also going to be responsible for them and responsible for myself. And yes, I realize that probably, you know, part of that responsibility is, if you need help, get it, you know. But at the same time, like I said, I mean, I'm like, yeah, I've started therapy. I'm not going to blame other people for my size.
You can't, because it's only you sitting there shoving food in your mouth like you're doing now.
You know, so I'm not on her side with this at all.
No one is.
And I don't like her entitlement.
Wow. The pot calling the kettle black. Chantal is the most entitled person out there. in the middle of the night, she's playing Crazy Frog with her husband on the keyboard. They're laughing. They're going crazy in the middle of the night in this building where apparently the walls are paper thin. But if the kids start making noise, if the kids are running up and down the hallways, it's a problem for her. You know, she should be able to do whatever she wants, but not anyone else.